Culturally Clueless.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And here is what happened this week. At least two things before we get the episode started. So, 23 minutes of nonstop applause and standing ovation for the voice of Hind Rajab, a movie that premiered in Venice, and a lot of big names joined the production team. For example, Brad Pitt, Joaquin Phoenix, just to give it a little bit more, let's say, to make it bigger. And something not so cool that is going on currently, and that is the EU is currently fighting about chat control. If you wonder what chat control is AI at its best. So all of our messages are supposed to be checked once they leave our phone. So this is like total surveillance of our privacy and messages, just to, so that they know what we're talking about, if there's any isms and whatever plans or whatever people are up to. You know the drill. They've been, big brother. Like, if you didn't read George Orwell's 1948, maybe you should. No, 1984. I'm so sorry. Wow. Okay, that oh my gosh, that's me. I can't change. I'm all over the place, and I guess I will forever be all over the place. It's just who I am at this point. With that said, salam alaikum and welcome to a brand new episode of Culturally Clueless.
Culturally Clueless.
Okay, everyone, welcome to this week's episode. Yes, I'm here, and I was almost not going to be here with a new episode. This is actually me re-recording the episode because some technical stuff happened yesterday. The camera did not record. I tried to do little things different because we always try to improve. We always try to get better lighting, better set, better. Okay, whatever. We're just trying to make it always look a little bit better, but we don't always succeed. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't, and it's in progress, right? It's a whole process at that, and it's work in progress, and that's what we're doing. So I am here though, nevertheless, and shout out to all of you people tuning in all the time, every time, or not, or almost every time. And shout out to everybody who is participating and helping and contributing to this as well. I feel like I don't shout those people out enough, that do stuff in the background, the 2-3 people we got here. So there is no better energy than to kick off with this particular video here. I think this guy summed America. He was talking about America, but I feel like he summed up the West pretty well in this speech. And he's talking about the 1% that seem to create all the problems in the world. So let's see what he has to say.
The only minority destroying America is the billionaires. Trans people are 1% of the population. Muslims are 1% of the population. Undocumented people are 1% of the population. We are focused on the wrong 1%.
So I came across the speech, and I thought it was absolutely amazing how he was talking about the 1% trans, 1% Muslims, 1% everything in this society that apparently so destructive and destroying the U.S., destroying the whole West. Like, we could get into it why everybody from the global South and their mother is in the West. Yeah, that's how they make us feel, like we all just left our countries and the countries are empty now, which is not the case. But there are many reasons. This is a whole different story for a whole different day on a whole different page. But I just want to say he just really, really, really made it very clear. It is actually about classism. It's about money. It's really like about poor versus rich, or rich versus poor, I should say, or rich versus everybody else, It's elitism, it's classism, it's all of that. So I hope you guys like or love this speech as much as I do. Move straight on and talk about the right-wing propaganda that is really out there. We talked last week about the 18-year-old Serbian kid in Norway that assassinated Tamima, a 34-year-old Ethiopian woman at her workplace, right? There's all of this right-wing propaganda that's been spewed on social media that's going around. We're going to get into it a little bit later as well. Actually, now we're going to start because Israel seems to really be good at the propaganda, but for some reason, it's not really working that well once people actually are witnessing a televised genocide. It's very hard to keep with their propaganda, but you got to let them. They're very persistent. They're very they're always trying new things. So there's some right-wing TV conversations, for example, like media is obviously very, very complicit, how I always say. And there is this right-wing people on TV who are constantly calling this Hollywood, what's going on in Gaza. The starvation is fake. Everything is fake, according to, I don't know, like it's insane how they call everything fake. They say there's chubby people, there's chunky people. How could there be famine going on? How could the children be starving? Maybe the mom should give some of the food to their kids. It's absolutely insane, especially when I talk about pre-existing illnesses or diseases. Yes, of course, people had preconditions before October 7th. What you don't think, but the situation in Gaza, yes, it escalated and elevated to a whole different level since October 7, 2023. But before that, people were still taken out. People were still being assassinated by the occupation. Let's not fool ourselves. Not in this way that is going on now for like almost 2 years now, like 1 month, and then it will be really be 2 years. It's absolutely insane.
Well, I'm always reluctant to put too much stock in the images coming out of Gaza because they're manipulated and they're masters of propaganda, and they're fine having their own children starve just as long as they can put them on camera and show them off to the world. That's Hamas. And frankly, it's a lot of Palestinians.
A lot of those pictures are propaganda. Yeah. They're of children who have some congenital, horrible disease, totally unrelated to lack of food. Yep. Often there's a picture of a mother who's quite chubby at the back with the child. You think, well, that's...
So, and when sometimes the media decides to report the truth, there is a lot of backlash coming their way, of course. Like we started with the New York Times and some other. I mean, the New York Times, I'm not trying to defend them, guys. I know they're a zombie outlet, like most of them. And it's always like how they blame Hamas for everything. They also blame Hamas for the starvation, for the famine, because they take the food, they sell it for too much money, blah, 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 blah. But there was a little bit of investigations that were happening on the ground as much as possible, because Israel like to investigate everything themselves. They investigate their own crimes, their own idea. That is so amazing. Imagine somebody who committed a crime says, I want to investigate myself. Bro, that would be so amazing. So, but it has been proven that Hamas has nothing to do with stealing food. It's not them. There's other groups that are sent from outside, and there's, for example, also the GHF. I will never stop speaking about the GHF because it's absolutely insane to me how 4,000 people are assassinated for queuing up to get food. Okay, this is absolutely insane. And there are thousands and thousands of trucks outside waiting to get in to bring food in. So far, in recent times, only 73 of these trucks were allowed in. That's absolutely insane. Another thing that the occupation also has done is a story to me that's totally, totally, totally insane. They don't leave no opportunity, no chance out to humiliate and degrade Palestinians, right? So there's this son, a 14-year-old boy called Musa, Palestinian with an American passport, and his mom, Intifada. They were visiting the West Bank, their family. They were visiting the Holy Land, okay? And they were trying to go home, back to the U.S. They wanted to leave through Ben Gurion Airport. And Musa and his mom, Intifada, by the way, if her name is really Intifada, that is fire. If her name is really Intifada, What an amazing name to have. Literally, what an amazing name. Fire. That's all I can say. But so they were held for 13 hours, detained. They were searched. They couldn't find anything. And they said, despite finding nothing, we need to strip search you. So she had to undress. Obviously, that is their way of, this whole degrading process. And they didn't give them back their passports, and then they didn't let them leave. So the dad back in the US, he was he activated some people. There was not many people are talking about this story. There was a news outlet who spoke on it. There is some people who posted about it, but really not too many people speak about this whole story. And the crazy part of this is, like, the story is this 14-year-old boy, Musa. He actually confronted the soldiers at the airport, the personnel at Ben Gurion, and he was filming, and he was asking them for their passports back.
We want to exit right now, so we're waiting for the passports. Why?
Flag.
Give us the passport.
Okay.
Why?
Whatever.
You are playing with them. I'm seeing you guys sitting and talking.
Okay.
So where are the passports? Hey, the passports.
Meanwhile, then with us. I think the security come and take you out.
They kept them there for weeks. As of today, I don't know where they stand, but a few days ago, they were not home yet. The dad, as I said, he was activating some senators, some people to get his wife and his son back. And I just find it so commendable how brave this 14-year-old boy actually was. He's a kid. He shouldn't have to have these conversations with their occupiers in particular. With everything that's going on, this kid is not supposed to be there. And for those who are going to scream, like, why didn't the mom do this? I think it would have gone down a whole different way if the mom done it. But I need you guys to talk about this. I need you guys to talk about this, to spread the story. Like, what's going on? How is it that nobody's talking about it? Insane, literally insane. Now, let's go to the other side of the world, for me at least. And let's talk about Australia. I told you guys Australia entered the chat a little while ago, and they seem to be all up in the chat, and they seem to get very comfortable, and they're not leaving because it seems like the whole world, for some reason, all of a sudden is right-wing. The whole governments are right-wing. If we look at India, we look in Australia, there's a whole continent. So just like we look in America, we look in Europe, all the countries, is absolutely insane. People are getting arrested. Like, there was this woman in the UK, she almost got arrested for holding a sign that said, I support, and the only reason why whatever she supports was not on there is because she didn't have time to finish it. But they already were coming for her, trying to arrest her. It's just because the people made a fuss about it, why they left her alone, I think. Anyways, back to Australia. So there's a lot of things going on in Australia, and it's actually really crazy. As I said, they are all up in there, and they got very comfortable. There were a lot of right-wing racist protests going on, and these protesters demand that the migrants or immigrants leave. They don't want no immigrants because they are very determined to take their country back. Excuse me, what? Your country? And the interesting part is 30% of people in Australia were not even born there. Okay. And when we look at healthcare, and this is really worldwide, healthcare is full of foreigners. So 40% of the healthcare in Australia is relying on foreigners. When you look at doctors, nurses in many Western countries, for some reason, there's a lot of foreigners who are doing these jobs. When we look at agriculture as well in Australia, that's relying on seasonal workers. So these racist Australians are really like talking about firing the Prime Minister and all kind of nonsense.
And I've come down here today because I'm a patriot of this country. I've got one word to say to the Prime Minister: Albo, Get We are here supporting Australia today. You're fired!
Why did you bring your daughter here today?
Because she doesn't have a future if we don't stand today.
So you're proud to be, you said, are you racist?
Believe me, mate. Yes.
And you're proud to be racist?
Yes, of course.
Put our race first.
We put our race first. And that's the beliefs that we hold. Of course we're proud of them. All the men in our organisation are proud to be racist.
Are you
For those who forgot or who never knew or who didn't understand, so Australia was colonized. It had actually its own population called the Aborigines, you guys. People of darker skin, that's why they don't matter as much. We come and we take. That's what Europeans do, whether it's in America, whether it's in Africa. We're just going to go and take whatever we want, right? And whenever we want, right? So let's talk about it real quick. The Brits arrived in they arrived in Australia in 1788, and they liked it there, so they decided to get over and kind of like take out the Aborigines. And of course, Aborigines are still there, but they're like really at the edge of society. Like Aborigines are not doing great over there, how I have been told. And another thing that these people say, except take back our land that they colonized or their ancestors colonized, which they conveniently forgot. They all, like in America, when white people call themselves Native Americans. It's really funny to me. They also are very, very heavy on, if you don't have Christian values, basically there is no space for you here in Australia. The Aborigines, to begin with, were not Christian. They were spiritual. They had different type of spiritual, beliefs that they were following and customs and everything. And my favorite thing coming out of Australia is literally a Kennedy MP called Bob Cutter. Bob, bro, is such, Bob. Bob is such a funny name to me. I don't know if his parents actually named him Bob or if he chose his name Bob. And the reason why it's so funny to me, because so this dude he held a press conference, right? And he was talking about anti-Australian sentiments and a bunch of other stuff, right? Again, the Christian values. So much he was talking about, right? So much. All of this, you have no place in Australia if you're anti-Australia sentiments, all kind of stuff. And then he was confronted, or he was asked a question by a journalist.
We're taking their names down. The gloves are coming right off now.
Bob, you've got Lebanese heritage yourself. What would you
Oh, mate, don't say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that. My family have been in this country for 140 years, right? So if you say anything like that, I have on many occasions punched blokes in the mouth, right? So I'm restraining myself today. Don't say it.
It was not confrontational. There was nothing. It was like, oh, but are you not of Lebanese descent? And Bobby lost his mind. Oh my gosh, he felt so triggered. He wanted to punch the guy in the mouth. He was talking about, don't say that, you're stereotyping me. My family has been here for 140 years. Yeah, the Aborigines have been there much longer than 140 years, and still they have no say and sway in their own land, on their own land anymore. It is so embarrassing. I have to say that. I am actually so embarrassed that this guy is of a Middle Eastern descent. So he doesn't, in that he's apparently so, I don't know. So do I call this self-hating? What do I call this? Like, Bobby totally lost the plot. This guy, that's why I say, I don't know if he chose the name Bob, like whiter than white, or sorry if any white person watching, or if he is Bob. I mean, his parents were actually like, this is how he has been raised. Like, and maybe his parents also have the same, attitude like him. So Bob now is facing suspension because he, as I said, threatened the journalist to punch him in his mouth and all the kind of stuff. Because he says that 92% of immigrants who come to Australia go to Sydney and other big cities and they don't mix up with Australians. And he said, we don't want him here. We don't want them here anyway, but they don't even try to mix up with Australians. God. Guys, this is so funny. But there's also something good going on that we have been seeing over the past month. And that is a lot of pro-protests, you know, whether it's pro-Palestine or like against this whole right-winged groups that are out there, you know, causing all of this disruption, you know. So there's a lot of pro-Palestine protests been going on in Sydney and big cities. We know like hundreds of thousands of people were across the bridge in Sydney and so on. And it's actually really beautiful.
Mass mobilisation. Tens of thousands fill streets. Parks. Bridges. In one of the largest coordinated demonstrations in Australian history.
From the beginning, from the first protest, you've seen every week bigger numbers come, bigger numbers show up, louder voices show up.
37 different protests across the country.
Absolutely beautiful. And with that said, I want to talk about a Palestinian that over the past 23 months became a personal superhero of mine. A story that really touched me, somebody that I think is absolutely amazing. And if his name was Bob now, or Peter, or I don't know what, he would be on every single talk show out there. They would have plastered the billboards with his face. They would have given him a book deal, a reality show, a documentary, 1,000 job offers, speaking engagements, and so on and so forth. But because his name is not Bob, Peter, or Joe, he doesn't get these opportunities. But now he has received an award. And, you know, you guys, we talked about it on the other pod. I told you guys I'm not keen on awards. I think this whole acknowledgement in form of an award most of the time is absolutely bought and fake. Like we saw at the Grammys and all of these awards that have been given to people, most of the time it's not genuine. It's the wrong people who are deciding who gets what and when. So I'm not really like too keen on that. But for this man, I just want, I have to be happy for him. So for the Middle East, I gave none other than Wael AlDahdouh, the guy who made the sentence very famous, the soul of my soul, an award recently, and I'm absolutely happy about it. Very happy about it. Very early on in Gaza in October 2023, he lost his wife, 2 of his kids, his son, his daughter, his grandchild. He lost his nephew and niece, and he continued reporting. He works for Al Jazeera, and after the strike that assassinated this large number of his family, he still continued reporting. He still continued serving his people. In December, then there was another strike that took out Samer Abu Daqqa, another journalist that works with him for Al Jazeera. And while it continued reporting, he was injured himself. You know, there's like shrapnels from bombs, and he is still suffering under these injuries. Because you guys, not all injuries go away. Sometimes it's just like You have them for lives, and you just have to make do with them. That's what happened in December 2023. And in January 2024, he lost his son, Hamza, who worked with him, who was also a journalist working for Al Jazeera. And that's when he called him, he was the soul of my soul. And he said, Malish, and he continued serving his people. He continued doing what he had to do. How much of strength do you actually have to be able to do this? How much of faith you have that you have to do? And that's what I'm saying. These people over there, they grew up this way. They grew up understanding that this could be it. And this is why when a lot of them, like the journalists, write their goodbye letters to their family members or to the world, to us, is so emotional and so touching and so moving. Like, it's insane. I understand that, like you can write a will, but it always, for some reason, has this weird effect on me when people write their goodbye letters generally, but these people in particular, or when you see the little kids, how they write their names on their hands. So when their body parts are found, or when their bodies are found under the rubble, people know who they are. That is really, really like, has this very insane effect on me and impact on me. And I'm sure on many, many others too. Yes, so Wael AlDahdouh, because he's Palestinian, because he's Arab, because he's Middle Eastern, and because he's Muslim, he doesn't get the opportunities that somebody else in that same situation, showing and proving the same strength, the same resilience, the same steadfastness, the same determination. He doesn't get the opportunities like somebody else with a different Western name or Western look would get in that situation. He was evacuated with the rest of his family to Doha, Qatar, and he has been there ever since, still advocating, still working, still doing his thing. And last week we talked a little bit about the West Bank, and today I want to talk about the West Bank again. Not only that they said that they're going to go hard on the West Bank again, which they have been doing since forever, but it's elevated, of course, since October 2023. More people get arrested on a daily, more people are taken out, more destruction, whether it's farmland, agriculture, whether it's Palestinian homes or businesses, whether it's little kids, they just get run over. It's insane what's going on. And this one here is just an example of a day in the West Bank.
An Israeli camera went right along with the soldiers, right into the briefings, and right into the Hawaja home. The army blew off the door, and inside found Huda Hawaja mortally wounded on the floor. Ismail Hawaja clearly thought at that point his wife would live. He begged the army to let an ambulance through. There were delays. The camera captured the terror of the woman's young daughter and her brother's attempt to stop her from showing the soldiers her fear.
I just want to say over 20,000 people in the West Bank are locked up without charges. Palestinian hostages held behind Israeli bars, being tortured every day, being between alive and dead. And there's this thing called Idari, and I talked about it prior. I just want to refresh your memories, you guys. So Idari is, they get locked up for 3 to 6 months because they can just keep them in there without charging them with anything. After the 6 months are up, they just give them another 6 months because they're not done investigating, they have no time or whatever the reason may be, right? And then there is this thing where this is like mental torture, where they give them their stuff and they say, okay, you can leave, get lost, go home. So the people walk to the gate to leave. And then they get told, no, you're not leaving. We changed our mind. You get another 6 months on top. And the people are going back to their cells. And when you speak with former hostages who have been held and have been tortured and witnessed torture, I don't honestly, like, having these kind of conversations, I don't know if I can ever come back from this. And this is just me like hearing this, right? Which is a huge difference from actually living this. And mind you, there's people in there like 20 years, 25 years, and so on and so forth. And as you guys can see in this video, right? So what happened here is absolutely insane, and no media is allowed. And mind you, sometimes when Western media goes to the West Bank, they get attacked by the settlers. They get stopped by the IDF and so on and so forth, right? Media people from the West are not always been treated nice, although it is actually in cooperation with the entity. Now, there was an Israeli media in this. It's why we have even the footage, as you guys can see. And they were allowed in, Israeli media, so to speak. But again, the IDF has to green light the footage to be broadcasted. In this case, they said, no, it's too embarrassing. So they were not allowed to broadcast this. And then the footage usually gets shelved. What happens in some cases, like in this case, eventually at some point later, sometimes the media just goes and releases it, okay, and publishes it. And that's what happened. And then there's a statement from the IDF saying they're going to investigate. They don't think it's right what happened, but they're going to investigate. Like always, right? It's a mishap. It's a mistake. We're going to investigate. Basically the same excuse. But because nobody ever checks what happened after, that's why we never know what happened. Now we're going to move on. We're going to move right along to a person that's been personally getting on my nerves for so long.
Let me tell you about this delightful person. Annalena Baerbock. Shortly, she's planning on taking up a new job as president of the UN General Assembly. While Israel was bombing hospitals, refugee camps and schools in Gaza, Baerbock called it self-defense and said that Israel's security is non-negotiable. She blocked efforts for a ceasefire that would have saved lives, and she refused to enforce arrest warrants for Israeli officials wanted for crimes against humanity.
She has been the foreign minister of Germany from 2021 to 2025. And now she is starting her one-year term in the UN as the president to replace the appointed Ursula von der Leyen. Ursula von der Leyen, terrible person, absolutely despicable. Okay, this woman, despicable and stupid. Okay, and she does not really have too many fans. Like, people don't like her. They call her opportunist. They call her, just like selfish and self-centered. She's absolutely stupid. Like, these people, this is unfortunately not a public vote. It is a UN member states-based decision. And what I find interesting is Germany had actually put somebody else forward, somebody called Helga Schmidt. And Helga Schmidt, for some reason, was dropped out, and she was replaced by Annalena Baerbock. So they took her off the list as a nominee, and they put Annalena forward. Okay, and I don't know. Let me just give you something that this woman actually said, which is insanely stupid, right? There's a lot of pushback because people are saying she is not equipped enough. She doesn't have the knowledge, and she doesn't have the know-how, and basically she's not the experience to have such a position to be the president of the UN. And many people agree with that. She's been called a genocide enabler because she's a very, very staunch Israel supporter when it comes to all the money that Germany is giving to Israel and all the arms sales. She's all up in there, and now she's going to take that sentiment obviously straight into the UN. I'm saying not that Ursula von der Leyen was better. That woman was really despicable. I'm not gonna lie, but this one here again is stupid on top of despicable, right? So 57% of German people, and they obviously see her daily on their TV screens or quotes on radio and media like outlets like newspapers, and so they're very annoyed and upset with this woman because she had too many mishaps. One of them was in January. Hold on. It was at a speech in January 2023. And it was at the Council of the European Council. Okay. So she was speaking and she said this: we are fighting a war with Russia. And this is a narrative, this is a rhetoric that no country, and most definitely Germany, was trying to avoid so hard. Like, they do not want to have this type of rhetoric whatsoever, because it is giving provocation. It is giving, oh, okay, what? Like, Russia could turn around and say, oh, okay, I didn't know we were at war. Okay, let's go. You know, so she's having a bunch of this mishap. This is just one of too many, right? And there is also a lot of factual gaps in her speeches. When she speaks, she gets like, like geography wrong. She gets like data wrong, like too many things. And this woman is supposed to be the president of the UN. I mean, yes, for her, it's a great career move, and that's all she wants. That's why they call her opportunist, because all she really cares about is positioning and how she can move her career forward and where she could go and all of this, that. And besides, obviously, she is a staunch Israel supporter, as I said, I know you guys get it twisted. There's APAC in the US, but UK has its own APAC. Germany has its own APAC, France, and so do have many, many other countries as well. And now we're going to go a little bit further. We're going to move on to a whole different country. We're going to talk about Venezuela. Venezuela in South America. Trump is obviously, or the US on a whole, have been very hot on Venezuela. So not only that they sunk this ship recently and 11 people died because the ship apparently or allegedly had drugs on board, and that's why they had to do it. Really, what an amazing reason.
Venezuela is ready for war with the US as Venezuelan special forces equipped with Chinese tech have mobilized in response to US threats of an invasion, as Donald Trump looks to do regime change in Venezuela, remove Maduro, and of course steal all their oil. But why now? Well, if you recall, during the Biden administration, BlackRock had essentially won the contract for the reconstruction of Ukraine after the war, which basically means BlackRock would plunder the resources of Ukraine.
People are getting impatient. Like we talked about it. Ukraine is being for sale. We talked about it, but Russia is not backing down, and Trump is pretty peed off with Putin because he's not, playing ball how he would like him to play. And they're very 10 toes down on their conditions. So this whole thing with Ukraine is taking longer than expected, or is a little bit complicated, so they need more time to work it out. But they still need a replacement right here, right now, because there's big companies who want a lot of and need a lot of this resources, like Blackstone, for example. Just saying, So, and since Venezuela is kind of around the corner, pretty much, it has all of these resources, so much oil. And to be honest, they've been receiving pressure from the US for over 2 decades now, right? And it intensifies since Nicolas Maduro is president, and he's pro Palestine, by the way. He's been vocal about it. So yeah, they don't recognize Maduro as a president. And something else that they love to do as well is fund opposition groups. There's a lot of right-wing people and groups also in Venezuela. We talked about it I talked about it prior. I don't know know if it was an episode or a video I made. I don't remember anymore. They've been sanctioned, like Venezuela has been sanctioned since the mid 2000s. There is a lot going on here. So I don't know what to say, but they've been like, they had, like, as I said, their submarines out, their fighter jets out, like the US is being very serious. They like say, okay, we're gonna get ready and we're gonna gear up because we need to. Okay. And Venezuela is very interesting because what Maduro done, they have military, but they also have militia groups. Like they have civilian militia groups. And this is not a small number that they have. The US sent out 4,000 in personnel, I think, so far. And I'm talking just so far, right? But these militia groups that are trained and training in Venezuela consist of 4 million members. 4 million members. Yes. That's how much they are, the militia groups. Okay. And then there is the military. And all of these different groups also with, also like equipped with boats and jets and whatever they need have been placed at all key oil hubs, but also at the border of Colombia. So they're saying, if you mean it, we're here, we're ready, like, come. Okay, so they're also standing on business. Okay, they're not being intimidated by the US anymore. And this is what's been happening. I mean, look, guys, right? Thailand bombed Cambodia. Nobody talking about it. So we have conflicts all over the place. We have so many the situation in the Sahel is also going crazy, like Mali and all of this and all of these funded jihadists over there fighting the militia groups and so on and so forth. And it's just destabilization going on any and everywhere at the moment. And as I keep saying and been saying, destabilization is the key. If you want a country, you need to produce chaos. Okay? And you produce chaos if you destabilize the country from within. Put groups there on the ground, fighting each other, fighting every group. In the end, nobody knows who's fighting whom, who's the enemy, who's the friend, who's the foe, who's not, So that's what's happening everywhere. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time.
Some people feel like AI chatbots are their best friends, even believing the world on their screen more than reality itself. One expert warns we may be on the edge of a new mental health crisis, AI psychosis. In an interview on Al Arabiya English, psychotherapist Lucy Beresford explains
that using things like AI and other altered reality states can actually trigger an emotional response in people very similar to the psychosis that we're more familiar with.
Moving right on to something that's also very crazy. You guys remember last week I talked about social media, and I talked about all of these people who sit 23 hours on on social media, whether it's an Instagram live, YouTube live, TikTok live, those video games, those online video games, or Kick, what is it called? Kick, or no, what is the other one called? Oh my gosh, Twitch. That's what I was looking for. People are sitting there 23 hours listening to people blabbering nothing. And as I said, you know what? I do go on live as well sometimes. I'm here on social media as well. And there's nothing wrong with being on social media, but I find you to be, and you guys know me, I'm quite direct. I find you to be an imbecile if you can sit daily 23 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, 12 hours on an app listening to people talking nonsense. Okay? Why don't you go listen to an audiobook, a documentary, a podcast, something where you can actually get something from? And I'm not saying that you can't do it at all, but not daily. Come on now. This is the whole thing. And this is why you become an imbecile, bro. This is why you lose all your social clues and everything. And that's why you don't know how to talk to people in real life. And there's something else that is providing this issue as well on a grand scale that people also underestimate a lot, and that is AI. AI is really starting to cause a problem in the sense of a lot of people, also young people, old people, mid-aged people, men, women, everybody talk to chatbots more than they talk to real people sometimes when it comes to certain issues, let it be like psychological issues, let it be relationship issues, any type of issues. They go and discuss them with chatbots and then take their advice. And there's over 30% right now of people that say that they are more satisfied from an AI advice than from a friend's advice, or that they are more satisfied with a conversation they had with an AI bot rather than with a friend or family member. And that to me is crazy. And this whole AI can trigger emotional responses like psychosis, right? You guys know psychosis, you can get that from certain drugs that you take, or you can get this from schizophrenia as well.
Mental health conditions like schizophrenia or even drugs. But now AI can create the same distortion of reality.
Or you might just be using it as ChatGPT and other forms of AI just to get a little bit of information. But you start to go down a rabbit hole of thinking that this is real, and before you know it, perhaps your whole reasoning, your life choices, and your own mental health can actually unravel.
And there's no official diagnosis yet, but honestly, the risk is there. It has been there, and people are not seeing it yet because, as I said, social media is way too young. It's way too young for us to know everything, how it affects our brains, how it affects our souls, even how it affects our whole being. Like, we see right now how it affects our lifestyle. We see right now maybe a little bit how it affects us mentally, but there is so much more to it, I promise you. And it's even worse with AI. It's even worse with AI. If people are already content with just talking to people online or listening to a bunch of strangers talking, now we're going to talk with a chatbot. What's next? Literally, what's next? And that's the thing, right? Again, I will say this again, social media is a great tool. You can learn stuff. You can meet amazing people. You can make friends. You can do business on social media. You can teach stuff, sell stuff, have fun, educate yourself. So many different things, right? But you should know how to use it. Everything in life should be balanced out. Everything in life should be balanced out. And sometimes it's good to take things off social media. And especially when it comes to this now with this bot business, oh my gosh, literally, I don't even know what to say. To me, this is completely insane. I have no idea what to say when it comes to this, because it does have a lot of crazy, impact on people. Look, right now, with this whole ongoing genocide, yes, we see the genocide televised, and a lot of people were able to learn a lot from social media. We were able to actively advocate and find people and get with people and so on. And it's beautiful, but still find a balance. Definitely find a balance. And a lot of people seem to forget that sometimes. And that's sad. When you just shut out your whole, even when you meet people on social media, that there's nothing wrong talking to, but don't be on these platforms for so long, because sometimes it really has bad effects on you, like the next thing. So for those people in the UK, you guys know who Tommy Robinson is very well, I hope by now. For those who don't know who Tommy Robinson is that racist guy, that Islamophobe, who created the EDL, the English Defense League, because he feels Islam is taking over, like also many. That's his propaganda. That's what he is going with. Also, Israel supporter paid, I think. I mean, come on now. And they are assuming that he kind of created a new offshoot to the EDL, to the English Defense League. And there was a phone call, and I want to play this video because, oh my gosh, this is so funny to me, this video. I hope you guys, and the whole situation is not funny, but the call is hilarious. the stupidity of people, the ignorance of people is hilarious. And that's why I say where the abuse and misuse of social media to spread misinformation, disinformation, manipulate and influence vulnerable people is absolutely insane. So some dude called Ryan Ferguson, right? He made this phone call. He claimed to be the second in command to Tommy Robinson. And Ryan, as I said, made this phone call, and he went to a particular mosque because a particular imam put hate videos out calling for hate against white people, against Christians or whatever, right? He accused the imam of these hate videos. So he went there and he said, yeah, we're here. And I'm second in command to Tommy and whatnot. And this woman was trying to acquire the name of this imam and so on.
I still don't understand why you as the EDL has turned up at Disbury Mosque. There's people in there who are just there doing their job, yes?
And we respect them.
Right, okay, so you're not showing any respect. So you're the second in command from Tommy Robinson?
Yes.
Right, okay. So where's Tommy?
Tommy come 2 days ago. As you've seen, there's now been a video posted on YouTube of inside the mosque and outside.
Right, okay. So what's your name?
My name's Ryan Ferguson.
Ryan Ferguson?
Yes.
Right, okay. So
she ended up going there. And this is a thing that happens actually a lot, right? Where right-wing people and Islamophobes go to mosques to confront people. Most of the time, not every time, unfortunately, it ends fairly okay, right? Because the people in the mosque, for the most time, they stay calm. They are not confrontational. They're still welcoming, still calming, still trying to have a conversation, still trying, to be, to make the most of the situation in order for it to go as smooth as possible. Sometimes there have been people assassinated or injured when you have, like, for example, instances where mosques were attacked, pork was thrown at them, or somebody would go to the mosque and attack people physically and so on and so forth. So in this case, this guy said that Tommy has been at that mosque 3 days prior, and he posted a video that he has been to the mosque and trying to get in. So now he came. They are like his backup, and they're like gang. So they're coming out to finish the job that Tommy apparently didn't do 3 days prior. But now I don't know if Tommy is dumb. Like, these people definitely are dumb, but I don't know if Tommy is. I want to say he's actually very smart, because he used this instance and he used this to come with his manipulation tactics. So he posted a video from 2018 where he was trying to get in that set mosque, right? The video is from 7 years ago. He posted it 3 days prior. People who follow him, who don't have a clue about nothing and don't know nothing, see that video and they think it's a new one, it's recent. So obviously they're gonna get all hyped up and they're gonna get activated, and they wanna do things, they wanna go and do something, because that's how they feel they are someone, by going out there and do something. And this is why I say it's very dangerous, because a lot of people who are actually very vulnerable, because they are lost in life, because life didn't work out as they thought it would, right? They didn't get the job they wanted. Their career didn't go well. They couldn't hold down the relationship they were in, or the marriage. They have problems with their parents. Maybe they come from a broken home. Maybe their parents just saw a loser in them and were like, calling them whatever. So this is really something where I say, bro, like, come on now. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. That's all I can say, right? And these people who follow these Tommy Robinsons and all of these right-wing people who really don't know where to go in life and just are looking for a tribe, just looking for a group to be a part of, so that they can feel a part of something, that they can feel useful, and so that they feel they belong, and then when they see that, they want to do something to be someone. And this is absolutely insane. So, yeah, I thought the phone, it's actually really sad, but I thought the phone call was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Tommy Robinson re-released a video of 2018 when he went to the mosque and he's trying to get into the mosque. Ryan, when he's saying Tommy Robinson was here 2 days ago, he wasn't. He'd seen that footage and thought that it was new. So he then decided to come to the mosque.
You couldn't make this up. Now, let's stick with this. Some groups in this world are very racist people. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of Orania. It's a white-only city in South Africa, right? This city has been established in 1991, 3 years prior to the official end of the apartheid South Africa. And this was founded by Karel Boshoff. He was a theologian and an academic, and he was also the son-in-law of Hendrik Bouwert, and he was the prime minister during the apartheid. So this Orania place is in the North Cape, in the Northern Cape province, and it has about 3,000 to 4,000 residents so far. And this is only for Afrikaners. That's what they call themselves. And they are of French, German, and Dutch descents. And they want this Orania city for themselves because they want to preserve their culture. They want to preserve their language, their traditions, and their autonomy.
A lot of Israel's flags, they're everywhere in South Africa. In fact, this picture right here, it was taken in South Africa. Can you believe this? Now, I'm not saying that the people of Israel should not travel to South Africa or any other South African country. I'm just wondering, why South Africa? Because we know South Africa is very outspoken against Israel. In fact, South Africa filed a lawsuit.
And obviously also they are relying, on local businesses and agriculture to make this even work. And the city is growing, y'all. The city is really growing. And it can exist, because I was wondering, how is this even able to exist? I mean, apartheid Africa is not existing, but these white people managed to have like a whole city just to themselves and nobody says nothing. Well, it's not like that. As long it's on private land. Okay, it's private land, private owned land, so they can do whatever they want on their private owned land. And as long as they obey the laws of South Africa, they're good to go. And South Africa, the people in South Africa, a lot of them are at the moment a little bit worried because it seems like a lot of Israelis are allegedly leaving. I mean, it's not alleged, but you know what I mean, guys. So they're leaving and they are indeed moving to South Africa, allegedly buying land in strategic places. Okay. And this has the population in South Africa a little bit worried. I mean, rightfully so. Like, because buying land in strategic places and moving there in numbers, it's very interesting. And especially, I'm a little bit surprised to me in South Africa is the country that actually took Israel to the Hague. So, for the genocide, and it's still ongoing. And there is like now more and more and more and more institutions and organizations saying it's a genocide. And you know what? America wouldn't be America if they didn't have a whites only city either. So this problem or this thing is not exclusive to South Africa. We actually have the same issue in America, in Arkansas. And this is happening. There is a group called Return to the Land. How ironic, right? It's absolutely insane. And this is in the northeastern Arkansas, where they also have their own land, and they established their own place there in 2023. So it's pretty young. It's still a baby. It's only 2 years old, by some dude called Eric Boa and another dude called Peter Sincere. And so far they have 40 members. This is like membership based. Okay, so they have to vet you and have to make sure that you have the right Christian values, that you are of white skin, European descent, and they banning black people, brown people, all type of different people with different heritage, also Jewish people. But I'm just wondering if they banning Ashkenazis too. I mean, they're European. Like, do they get a pass, or like, I don't know. So they're planning to expand, which is scary. And, return to the land is what they call themselves. And it's so funny because the Times of Israel published actually an article about them. That's so funny. How ironic. Either way, you guys, there is a lot of these weird things going on out there with all of these weird people, white cities only. This is so insane that I think personally this shouldn't be allowed. All of these weird things that people want to do, and all these segregation and grouping and stuff like that. But hey, so again, there's a bunch more that happened this week, but I cannot get to all of it. So this is all I have so far. I'm not gonna lie, this is all I have so far, and I know it's not a lot, but I feel like I gave you so much last week. Maybe it was a little bit too much. I'm not sure. There was a lot of information. All you guys said, oh, so much information, and I have to listen twice or whatever. So I wanted to have a light one, or a little bit of a light one. We still talked about very interesting and very important things, I feel. You guys, my editor made a mistake last week. I actually had a special message at the end of the episode. I had a video that I wanted to play for you guys, and I need all the Christian people who are watching this to share this with their family members, friends, colleagues, co-workers, neighbors, I don't know, church, whatever. It's a very important message, and I think this is very heartbreaking, and it needs to be definitely taken serious and taken places so people can hear it.
Hello, my name is Rafa, and I'm a Palestinian Christian, and I am tired of being part of a Christian community which doesn't always recognize Palestinians as human. I think we're all reading the same Bible here. Or maybe not, I'm not sure anymore. But how can you look at the Bible, and how can you read that holy book, those scriptures, and not see God's heart break for the children, the mothers, the fathers, the young people who are dying every single day? Not because they just happen to be dying, but because they're being murdered and killed by missiles and bombs and starved to death. If you are a Christian, I urge you, open your Bible, pray for Palestine. It's not controversial, it's not difficult.
With that said, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything, one of you. And I will be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, keep it sweet, keep it simple, keep it classy and graceful, and stay informed. Peace out.